What's going on, hockey friends? We are back, and today we will be talking about one of the biggest stories in the NHL for a long time. It's the Arizona Coyotes and whether they will be relocated or not. We'll be taking a look at their current situation and how or if they can fix it, and then we'll be going full speculation mode as I'll be talking about some of the cities I can see the Coyotes being relocated to. So, let's get right into it. So, over the past few months, the situation with the Coyotes has gone absolutely downhill. From being kicked out of their arena in Glendale to now looking like they're going to play all of their home games at Arizona State University's arena, which has a capacity of 5,000. And it all boils down to the Coyotes needing somewhere to play. They need a home because they're essentially getting kicked out of the Gila River Arena in Glendale in June, and after that they will have nowhere to go because, well, they have nowhere to go. So they struck this deal with Arizona State University to play at their new multipurpose arena in Tempe, whatever, until 2025 with an option to extend that to 2026. But what's the plan once the deal with ASU expires? Are they going to have a new arena built for them? Are they going back to Glendale? They filed a bid for a new permanent arena in Tempe, but as of recording there's been no news on it. So what happens if that falls through? I'm thinking relocation, and that's something I'll talk about later in the video. And I mean, this is just another chapter to the ever-growing book about the Coyotes and everything that's gone wrong here. They can't sell tickets, the team sucks, and the last management group did some questionable things, and now they can't even pay their rent? Come on, man. If the new arena does get approved and built, the Coyotes won't be relocated obviously, and from what I've gathered, it's going to be in a much more profitable area with the local population that have the money to buy both season tickets and single game tickets. And at the end of the day, cash is king in the NHL. But I want to talk a bit about that 5,000 seat arena, because I've seen a lot of people laughing at the idea of an NHL franchise playing in such a small arena, and I agree to a certain extent. And I watch a lot of Swedish hockey, and this arena would be at the bottom in the SHL for capacity, and that's even if they can use the full 5,000 seats. Because there are reports that they may have to go down to 3,500 to facilitate the team, which is, it's absolutely crazy, and I can't really wrap my head around it. If this was a one season solution, then fine, I'd get it, but for 3 or 4 seasons, it's so weird, especially because it's an NHL franchise. And you know what, I actually really like these smaller rinks. If you've ever been to one and watched a game, you would know it's actually a fun experience, because you can get real close to the ice without having to give up an arm and a leg. And I've been to both SHL games and AHL games and had seats right up against the glass for like $20. But something just feels off with having an NHL team playing in such a small arena, and of course, this has sparked relocation talk more than ever before, and to be honest, I'm not against it, and I have some candidates for where the Coyotes could be relocated to. So let's talk about that. Houston has always been my number one relocation spot if a team were to be relocated, and with the Coyotes it would be perfect. First of all, from a purely logistical point of view, it makes sense. In theory, a Houston-based team would play in the Central Division, and given how the Coyotes have been moved to the Central Division this season, it's perfect. You won't have to realign the divisions or conferences, so you can keep that perfect 32-team balance with 16 teams in each conference that we have right now, and not have to worry about that. From a business and hockey point of view, it makes sense too. Houston is the 4th biggest metropolitan area in the US and already has an arena that is ready to house an NHL team. The Toyota Center seats over 18,000 people. Now, that's with a basketball configuration, so let's say 17,000 for hockey, and it's located right in downtown Houston. There's also an owner who's ready to bring hockey to Houston. Tillman Fertitta, the owner of the Houston Rockets, has been vocal on several occasions about his desire to get Houston an NHL franchise, and if you have the building and an owner willing to do it, I don't see why not. There's also a natural rivalry with the other Texas team, the Dallas Stars, And I've seen people talk about how a team in Houston would damage the market for Dallas and take fans away from them. And granted, outside of the city of Dallas, I don't know enough about where in the country the Stars bring their fans in from, but Houston is like 4 hours away from Dallas, and given how big the Houston metropolitan area is, I'm not worried about finding enough hockey fans in that city. Another point of concern is that Houston already supports the other major sports. There's the Rockets, the Texans, and the Astros, but again, I think there are enough hockey fans in the area, and if the team does well, you'll get new fans anyway. I just look at Vegas as an example. I was totally against the idea of a team in Vegas, but they got off to a great start and built a fan base, and now it's one of the loudest buildings in the league, and I love watching their games. Of course, Vegas were lucky in the sense that there were no other major sports teams in the city when they entered the league, but I still believe in the theory that success equals new and more fans. For me, Houston is the obvious pick. Big city, NHL ready facilities, and an owner that wants the team. But there's a city I think most hockey fans want to see a return to. Yeah, every single time there's talk about expansion or relocation, Quebec is the first city people start talking about. And why not? The history speaks for itself. The iconic Nordiques, the rivalry with Montreal, and the fact that it would be another Canadian team, and some poetic justice as well, seeing how the Coyotes used to be the Winnipeg Jets before they relocated to Arizona. So essentially Canada is getting their team back. Quebec already has the facilities, the Videotron Center, or the Centre Videotron for my Quebecois viewers out there. It's a state-of-the-art arena that seats over 18,000 people, and of course the interest and fan base is already there, and the city applied for a team ahead of the 2017 expansion, but as we know, that team went to Vegas. And the premier for the province of Quebec, Francois Legault, spoke quite openly about his desire to bring a team to Quebec in November last year, and there was a meeting between the local government and Bettman earlier this year. But for now, it doesn't seem like Quebec will be getting a team anytime soon, but there's a lot of support here, both from fans and from the local government. The only thing you need is an owner who's willing to take this on. A problem with relocating to Quebec, however, is that you'll mess up the league balance that I touched on earlier. A Quebec team would be in the Eastern Conference, and then it would make it 17 teams in the East and 15 in the West, which I'm pretty sure the NHL want to avoid. You can somewhat fix this by having an expansion team in Houston, but that's easier said than done. All in all, I really like both Quebec and Houston, but if I had to pick one city, I have to go against what my heart says and go with Houston. It just makes too much sense not to have a team there. But there are some other cities that people have been talking about, so let's have a look at them. Now, these are cities that I don't necessarily believe in, but people have mentioned them when talking about relocation and expansion, and there are some really interesting ones here, such as Kansas City. Out of the wildcard cities, as I'm calling them, this one makes the most sense. You already have an NHL arena which seats over 17,000 people, a good location from a geographical point of view, meaning you won't have to realign the divisions, as a Kansas City based team would play in the Central Division. What I'm worried about though is the market. Is it big enough, and would they care? They had a team, to be fair, that was back in the 70s, but the team only lasted 2 seasons before it moved, so the question is if they can support a team. And you know, I'm not a massive football fan, but if there's one thing I know about the NFL, it's Patrick Mahomes. And it feels like that whole city is infused with Patrick Mahomes mania, so would they even care if they got an NHL franchise? That's something you guys will have to tell me in the comments below, because I do not know enough about Kansas City. Now, this is where we get into the very wild cards. This is pure speculation, and I can't see any of these two cities happening, but we speculate a lot on this channel, so what do you guys think about Hamilton, Ontario, or another Toronto-based team? Yeah, it sounds cool in theory, but I can't see it happening. Hamilton does have an NHL-ready arena. The first Ontario Centre seats over 17,000 people and is home to the Hamilton Bulldogs, and to my surprise, Hamilton as a city has a pretty high population, but it's smack in the middle between Toronto and Buffalo, and I can't see this theoretical team steal enough fans from either fan base or bring in new ones. The same goes with another Toronto-based team, and I'm talking Toronto-based, not a GTA team like Markham or Mississauga or Brampton. I mean a team in the actual Toronto City area, and it's cool in theory, but I feel like there just isn't a market for a new team here. There's hockey fans here, that's for sure, and there's a lot of them, but a majority are Maple Leafs fans, and the rest most likely have a team that they cheer for, and how big of a potential fan base are you left with then? Yeah, this won't be happening, we won't be getting another Toronto-based team. This idea will have to stay in the NHL franchise mode instead, but it's a pretty fun idea. So there you go guys, a rundown of what's wrong and what could happen. Do you think Arizona will be getting relocated, and if so, where would you like to see them move? Talk to me in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.